and welcome to News Today. I am Kemini Nyamani. I'm on top of the news. Trade Union Congress says its demand for a reduction in utility tariff only partially met by government. It says it will now be focusing on engaging government and its stakeholders on reducing water tariff. Also ahead, tourism fetches Ghana $2.5 billion, confirming the sector as the fourth largest exporter after gold, cocoa and remittances for the year 2012. Kemini Nyamani Amano. This is News Today. Now, the Trade Union Congress has noted that its demand for a reduction in utility tariff has been partially adhered to by government, but it has been done to the neglect of a reduction in water tariff, which remains unchanged at 25%, unchanged at 52%. TUC says it will now be focusing on engaging government and stakeholders on a reduction in water tariff, which it maintains is unrealistic. The Trade Union Congress Sunday called off its strike series of planned demonstrations after government announced 25% reduction in electricity tariff. This means consumers will now pay 59.818% as against the 78.9% announced by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. The starting point of the electricity tariff increase towards full cost recovery has been reduced by 25%. That means the starting point towards the full recovery reduces from 78.9% to 59.18% with effect from 1st October 2013. The decision was taken following a review of the report of the technical working group that was tasked to study the new utility tariffs announced by the PURC. Government has also asked the PURC to start the implementation of the automatic adjustment formula from January 2014. Ebenezer Baden is an energy economist at the Electricity Company of Ghana. He's joined us over the telephone to share his thoughts on this subsidy from government. Hello, Ebenezer.
Hello.
Many thanks for your time, but what are your thoughts on this subsidy from government?
To us as ECG, anything that is done to make sure that there is harmony, there is peace, there is no industrial unrest, we are happy. But what it is that we've traveled down this route before, and what our efforts will be to look at how government is going to redeem that subsidy, how government is going to honor it, because what we need is the funds should come on time. So that is what we will be looking at.
Do you believe government can find the money to pay the subsidy of over 400 million Ghana cedis?
Government being the owner of the institution, for us, once it makes a promise to us and to consumers as well, for us, we have no problem with that. But as to whether we believe or not, it's a business we are operating and we look forward to receiving it.
I'm glad you said it's a business we are operating, because over time, subsidization has been a cause of worry when it came to power production. Like you mentioned earlier, we've been down this road before. And we've had a situation where government is not able to live up to its promise of subsidize. It's subsidized, all right, but has not been able to give the money to the power producer. And what should we expect? Below 60% now from our power producers. Can we meet the cost we hope to, the cost of production we hope to clear?
What we have said earlier on is that even the 78.9 is below our cost, and that we're looking forward to seeing the automatic tariff adjustment mechanism being put in place to address the shortfall. Now, going forward, government says that it wants to lessen the burden on the consumer. So government is going to make up 25% of the increase. It's a welcome news, but what we will hope to look out for is to receiving these funds, because already some classes of customers have started paying for it. Prepaid customers have been billed at the 78.9% increase. So what it means is that we will have to refund to them the difference of 25% and then post the bill to the government of Ghana for immediate payment. That we will do, we will implement and then send the bill to the government of Ghana. And then make sure that we also receive our portion of it. Now, if this works out, this mechanism works out smoothly, then we are sure to know that there wouldn't be any problems at all.
Right. Now, for customers, prepaid customers, really, how would they be reimbursed 25%?
They will see it in the form of additional credit on their purchases. Let's say if tomorrow we have finished with every the bits and pieces of this and implementation is being rolled out, you go to do your next purchase, assuming it's 20 cedis you are purchasing, and then the 25% reduction means, if it means, for example, 10 cedis, then as you purchase 20 cedis, you will receive 30 Ghana cedis on the deposit you have made.
But Ebenezer, tell me something. In the event government is not able to live up to its promise, not by subsidizing, but by paying ECG, what will be the effect on production?
What it means is that our ability to make payments to our suppliers, to our manufacturers, and then even to maintain the network is reduced. Time value of money is of essence here. So any delay in payments will mean that ECG would also not be able to operate as it should be. The Sunon Asogli must be paid, VRA must be paid, Gridco must be paid, and all these will be affected. So what we will look out for is for the mechanism to work out smoothly, and then we can be able to honor also our payments to our suppliers.
Many thanks, Ebenezer, for your time. But over the telephone again is John Peter Amewu. He's Director of Policy and Research at ASAP. And Peter, good morning. Good afternoon, rather.
Yeah, good afternoon, and good afternoon to your listeners.
Absolutely. Peter, so 25% reduction in electricity tariff, you work with energy, and what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think this is again another disaster for a country and also for our generation's input as we go forward. The signal is not good at all, and I think it's actually wrong for government to persistently continue to intervene in the regulatory activity. You agree that it is a statutory requirement under the Public Utility Regulatory Commission Act 1997 at 538 for the PRC to publish approved rates, both of the VRA, ECG, NETCO, and then the Gridco. These rates, when published or approved, are supposed to remain unchanged until they are altered by the same institution. What government seeks to do now is to introduce some elements of subsidy into the regime. Don't forget, this is the same government which made us understand that it's weaning itself from subsidy on petroleum products. Now, these same petroleum products are used to fire our generation. And so if you wean yourself of subsidy from petroleum products and you come back to the penalty and you grant subsidy, you are not achieving anything at all. Right. The signal is that government will not be able, I'm saying it and I'm repeating, because of the worsening balance sheet position of this government, government will not be able and will not be in a financial position to make sure that these monies are paid to the utility companies.
Right.
Going forward, what we are going to witness is deteriorating performance of the utility companies, worsening of their balance sheet, and this will not trigger a good indication for independent power producers to come into the country. So what government is doing is that government intentionally is destroying the same institution that has been set up to deliver power for our consumption. Government intentionally is restraining the ability of independent power producers to come into the country to generate, because the signals are not good. The signals are wrong. And as a country, I don't know where we are going into. Don't forget, the organized bar is not automatically against the increase. What they are saying is that the increase needs to be staggered over a period of time to enable them to pay. Government is playing politics with power. Government coming out to say that it's reducing the tariff or is going to absorb 25% is a political drama, because this government will not be able to pay this money to the utility company.
How else could government have dealt with this energy situation and, labor on the other hand?
I think it's important for government to take itself out of doing politics with the energy sector and allow the PRC to play the mandatory requirement role that it is fed up to do. I don't see anything government can do now, but all that is necessary is government to keep quiet and allow PRC to play the rule, of the game. That's very important. If consumers are suffering as a result of increase in tariffs, that might be purely due to economic mismanagement.
Right.
Okay? What government needs to do is to make sure that the economy is put in a position that will enable consumers to have the money to pay. If government reduce the payment for consumers and continue to deteriorate the performance of this country, consumers will not even be able to pay the reduction of 25%. So government needs to concentrate on its agenda of providing a viable economic activity for consumers to be able to earn a living income to pay realistic tariffs. If government keeps on reduction in tariffs and keep on, doing things that are not allowing the consumers to generate sufficient income, I don't see how we are going forward in this country. The signals are very wrong. The signals are not enticing, and the signals are actually closing the door for the IPC.
Come January 2014, the PURC is expected to implement the automatic adjustment formula. You think it can neutralize the situation for government once the implementation is started?
Of course, the automatic adjustment formula is not any increment that we see that will add any incremental jump to the tariff. What it does is look at, the exchange rate differentials and changes of crude oil price in international market. This current tariff that we have witnessed now is a new tariff regime. It is not an increase in tariff. We must get the difference between the two clear. This is a new tariff regime which is supposed to propel the utility companies in a new direction. Automatic adjustment formula will come on automatically, but that is just going to be an incremental.
Right.
Whether that will give a good signal for IPP, I doubt that. I doubt it.
Peter, we'll leave it here for now. Many thanks. Jean-Peter Mewu is Director of Policy and Research at the African Center for Energy Policy. Let's go to Navrongo now, and the acting traditional chief of the traditional area, Navropio Asa Wekembalinia Ada, has called on the Electoral Commission of Ghana to reverse the name of Atosali Asase electoral area to its original Akrogo Dabo, or take the blame for any violence that may erupt there. Atosali Asase or Akrogo Dabo became a hotspot in the Upper East region prior to the 2012 general elections over the renaming of the area. Here's a story by Albert Sori, our Upper East regional correspondent. In March 2012, residents of Akrogo Dabo in the Kassena Nankana East District of the Upper East region boycotted the biometric voters registration exercise to underscore their disagreement with the change of name of the area from Akrogo Dabo Atosali Asase electoral area without their consultation. The boycott was followed by unrest, which forced Electoral Commission officials to stop the registration exercise in that area. This left many qualified voters in the area unregistered. Later, a human rights court ruling on November 30, 2012 directed the EC to organize fresh registration voters in 8 communities of the Kassena Nankana East District, including Atosali Asase. New registrations on the last day of that registration exercise revealed that though the people had registered, they still could not vote in the 2012 election because in Regulation 9, Act 5 of Constitutional Instrument 72, which says the Electoral Commission is prohibited from including in the voters' register the names of persons who registered less than 60 days to an election. 1 year on, the controversy over the renaming of Akrugu Dabo to Atosali Azazi by the Electoral Commission has resurfaced. Chief of the Navrongo Traditional Area, Navropio Arthur Wekem Balinia Ada, at a press conference held at his palace on Friday, said the refusal of the EC to reverse the name of the area to its original Akrugu Dabo is an act of disrespect to the traditional authority. He warned of serious repercussions if the situation is not rectified immediately.
We, the chiefs and people of Navrongo Traditional Council, are quite disturbed by the disrespect shown to us by the Electoral Commission of Ghana over the purported change of name of Akrugu Dabo electoral area to Atosali Azazi. Without the due consultation with the traditional authorities, the Navrongo Traditional Council could do anything in its power to prevent the change of the name from Akrugu Dabo to Atosali Azazi.
Now, the Ochehene Osajefo Amwetio Epenyi has called on the United States government to extend the work of the United States Agency for International Development to cover the growing environmental and economic challenges afflicting several communities in Africa, which have been devastated by small-scale and illegal surface mining. The traditional ruler of the Acheme-Boakwa state in Ghana specifically called for assistance in efforts to reclaim mined lands that have become economically unproductive and hazardous to the environment. Ochehene made this appeal for assistance in Ghana's land reclamation efforts in a meeting held at the U.S. State Department last Wednesday with the Assistant Secretary of State for Africa, Linda Thomas Greenfield. Small-scale mining and illegal mining are carried out in rural farming communities with devastating consequences to cropland as vegetal cover is destroyed and upper soil is excavated to access the mineral-bearing soil underneath. The Bureau of Public Safety has added its voice to the numerous calls by some lawmakers, civil society organizations and general public to call on the government to release investigation reports of some public safety incidents. The Bureau of Public Safety made reference to rampant fire outbreaks that brought some of the nation's prominent markets to its knees and several police actions that were largely suspected to have gone bad and resulted in the killing of innocent citizens. According to the Bureau, all official and bureaucratic attempts to secure copies of such reports have failed as authorities have remained evasive and/or, in some cases, passive to demands. The Bureau of Public Safety has therefore called for the immediate release of such reports in the interest of the taxpayer whose sweat and toil provides safety, comfort and living for them. This is News Today. There's more news ahead. Don't go away. You're welcome back to News Today. Traders at the Audome area towards the Kwame Nkrumah Circle stretch of the ring road are appealing to government to relocate them rather than forcibly eject them to pave way for the construction of the Circle interchange. Here's a story by Justice Forson.
President Mahama Carter called for the commencement of a 3-tier interchange at the Kwame Nkrumah interchange in October this year. Contractors and local authorities assured the €74 million project will be completed in 2 years and would have minimal effect on businesses along the Rhine Road close to the Kwame Nkrumah Circle. However, an Accra Metropolitan Assembly task force embarked on an ejection exercise along Tiptoe Lane near the roundabout. Affected traders claim the exercise would deprive them of their daily livelihood and can result in unemployment. Joy News checks on Saturday indicated some traders along the Awudome stretch of the road had received ejection notices, but they are asking authorities to give them time to relocate rather than to be forcibly ejected.
When you watch through how the traffic goes on, well, it's good for them to construct the road, but it should be compensated. I think my brothers here, they should be at least be tipped a little bit before doing that. But without any consultation, without just move ahead with, bulldozers with things and just start constructing the road, it's very bad.
The traders complain also that while they remained by the roadside, the AMA task force used their presence to demand money from them.
I had it on because they say, you never been transferred, they never to go and buy for service.
Okay, you know, the business is a balanced thing. So everything is from God. It's a balanced thing. Sometimes they come up, sometimes they come down. So that one you can't say the business, the construction affect your business.
The project is jointly financed with funds from the Brazil and the Ghana government.
Tourism fetched Ghana $2.5 billion last year, confirming the sector as the fourth largest export after gold, cocoa and remittances. The amount was spent by 1,263,857 international tourists who visited the country during the year, according to an official of the Ghana Tourism Authority who disclosed this at the just ended World Travel Market in London. Ghana set a national target of 1 million arrivals 5 years ago, and that target set by the authority and was envisaged to be achieved by 2010. Ghana's piece of the global tourism pie is considered an insignificant drop in the vast global ocean scene from the universal perspective. According to the United Nations World Tourism Organization, international tourism receipts reached an estimated $1,075 billion worldwide. Over the decades, tourism has experienced continued growth and deepening diversification to become one of the fastest growing economic sectors in the world. Now, the Civil Society Platform on Oil and Gas, a coalition of civil society organizations, has warned international oil companies against undermining the passage of the local content legislative instrument. The coalition said it had gathered that some international oil companies operating in the country intend to adulterate the content of the bill in a way that would deny Ghanaian opportunities. A member of the steering committee of the Civil Society Platform on Oil and Gas, Dr. Jemima Nelson Nunu, said efforts of the international companies to undermine the LI are being given impetus by the United States ambassador. She said a recent statement by the U.S. ambassador that Ghana's local content law in the oil and gas sector would make it difficult for the country to attract the needed foreign capital, technology and expertise. Dr. Nelson Nunu said the ambassador's statement showed a certain agenda by powerful interests to dilute the provisions of the LI and in the process water down its effect. The LI, which spells out regulations and gives legal backing and enforceability to the local content provisions of the country's local content and participation policy framework on the petroleum sector, was laid before Parliament last year. News Today returns after this.
I am Rashida Baba Kadiri. Thanks for staying tuned to the sports segment on News Today. It is proudly brought to you by Tigo. Smile, you've got Tigo. Now, earlier today, a delegation from Ghana made up of Minister of Youth and Sports, Honorable Elvis Efiye Ankwa, Ghana Football Association President Kwesi Nyantakyi, and the Director of Communications at the FA, Ibrahim Sani Dara, met a delegation from FIFA. That's General Secretary Jerome Valke and then Development Officer Reginald Terry at Lome to further discuss the security concerns in Egypt. Remember that Ghana made a request for the game to be moved to a neutral grounds, but looks like this is not going to be possible. But I'm sure that there's something that we need to hear from whatever the outcome of the meeting this morning was. I have on the line Communications Director of the Ghana Football Association, Ibrahim Sani Dara. Hello, Sani. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Rashida.
Sani, I know you are coming back from Togo.
Yes, indeed. We are actually on the verge of getting to the center of Accra.
All right, Sonny, I'm told that you went to meet some officials from FIFA in connection with our November 19 game with the Pharaohs. Tell me, what was the outcome of this meeting?
Well, the outcome was very, very fruitful. The outcome is that Ghana will be sending a delegation again to Cairo on Thursday to finally see the security measures put in place by FIFA and the Egyptian authorities to ensure that everything is sound. We, however, have to assure Ghanaians that based on what we have seen in preliminary talks, we are satisfied with what we have seen and the match will go ahead. But FIFA wants to be sure that everything we have seen prior to this and also written on paper, we are satisfied with it. That is why they invited us to come to Cairo to see on the ground what has been put in place, the stadium facilities, training facilities and all, to ensure that we are satisfied, we are safe and we are sound. This is a measure that the Minister for Youth and Sports and the GFA chairman have been insisting upon, that they don't want to lose any lives, be it Ghanaian or Egyptian lives, during the football match. So they want to go into every detail to ensure that when they send people there, they are sending them on the basis that they will be safe and sound. The meeting was fruitful, and the FIFA General Secretary was very, very cooperative and had a sympathetic ear to the concerns of the people of Ghana, right from the presidency, President John Mahama himself showing concern in this matter and was very, very sympathetic. It was the reason why he decided that he has to give Ghana another opportunity to go to Cairo to go and see the facilities again.
Right, Sonny, at this juncture, are we talking of security just for the players and officials, or we're talking about security for supporters as well as media men and any other personalities who would want to come and witness the game in Cairo?
All of these things are encapsulating. We are talking about Ghanaian lives here, be it a footballer, a journalist, an official, or a supporter. All of them are included. So in preliminary talks, Egypt unveiled 3 stages, of security checks before you get into the stadium. They've also assured us that our buses, our delegation, every delegation from Ghana will be given full security protection from the time they land in the country and from the time they leave in the country. Another word of assurance is also that of the 30,000 people who will be allowed into the stadium, 20,000 of them will be security officials from the Egyptian security operatives. So we just have to be assured that nothing untoward will happen.
All right, Sani, thanks very much, and we look forward to hearing from you again once this meeting is held in Cairo on Thursday.
Thank you very much, Rashida.
All right. We just heard from Communications Director of the Ghana Football Association, Ibrahim Sani Dara, outlining what happened in Lomé when a delegation from Ghana made up of the GFA President, the Youth and Sports Minister, and himself met Jerome Valcke, who is General Secretary of FIFA, and Reginald Thierry, who is a FIFA Development Officer. This is what happened, and so it means that the game would come off in Cairo anyway on November 19, but security guarantees would further be deepened to ensure that no life or nothing is actually nothing bad or nothing untoward happens when Ghana gets to Egypt on 18th of November and leaves the place on November 19. Immediately that game is over. Away from that, let's still remain in Egypt because there's a record in Africa. Al Ahly, they are a football team in Egypt. They are one of Africa's most successful. In fact, I can talk about them in the world. They're one of the world's most successful clubs when it comes to the continent. They have been ruling the continent for very long. They have won their 8th African champion or the CAF Champions League title. They won it after beating Orlando Pirates in Cairo over the weekend. Here are highlights of the match that was played.
Stadium, the Bucks needed a performance out of the top drawer to take down the 7-time champions. But Soweto Giants included captain Lucky Lekhwati in the side, the 37-year-old having missed out in recent times, but his experience was vital in what was set to be a tough match. Al Ahly had the best chance of the opening exchanges, but the diving header went wide of the Pirates' goal. Orlando Pirates replied with their attack of their own, but Hlose Kholene was denied by Sherif Ekrami. Midway through the first half, the action was starting to heat up as Senzo Meyer was called into action to deny the Egyptians. Sekholela once again had a golden chance to make it advantage Pirates, but the winger's header went wide from close range. It was scoreless at the break, with both teams having had chances to open the scoring. The goal did finally come for the home side, and it was their talisman, Mohamed Abutrika.
And it is back to goal, trying to tee it up, and the shot could be a chance here. Abutrika scores!
Lennox Bakela then had a golden chance to level matters for Pirates, but he failed to find the back of the net, having rounded the keeper. The home side all but put the game beyond doubt when Ahmed Abdel Zahir punished the Pirates' defence that was caught sleeping. With the match in its last 10 minutes, Sharif Abdel Fadil caught Dane Clayton mid-air to receive a second yellow card, Al Ali down to 10 men. Despite their setback, the Egyptian Giants were able to see out the game, winning 2-0 on the day and 3-1 on aggregate. It meant that the Egyptians secured their 8th CAF Champions League crown, a remarkable achievement in what has been a turbulent period in the North African country.
Away from Africa, let's go straight to Egypt and straight to Europe, I beg your pardon. And we go first to England to see what happened in the English Premiership. Arsenal lost. They couldn't beat Manchester United or even pull a draw. Chelsea, they managed a draw, a 2-2 draw. We saw Manchester City losing. Sunderland also beating Tottenham Hotspur. Coming up in the English Premiership, highlights for matches played over the weekend.
Leaders Arsenal at the Theatre of Dreams, Old Trafford. Having not won a league match at the ground since 2006, the venue had been the scene of many a nightmare for Arsenal fans over recent times, and their worst fears were confirmed in the 27th minute when United went ahead through one of the Gunners' former favourite sons. The home side thought they were in with the chance of doubling their lead when Wayne Rooney was brought down inside the area, but referee Andre Mariner waved away their claims. Arsenal was given a scare when their keeper Szczesny was knocked out cold following a vicious clash of heads with United midfielder Phil Jones, but the big Pole recovered to continue playing. Enjoying his retirement from the stands was former United manager Sir Alex Ferguson, who found himself surrounded by members of the Springbok team. On the other side of the pitch, Nemanja Vidic wasn't quite as fortunate as Szczesny. The United captain collided with his own keeper David De Gea, and at half-time was substituted with Tom Cleverley. The home side going into the break 1-0 in front. Rooney had a glorious chance to add a second for his side, but he fired his shot just wide of the post. Arsenal's chances were few and far between. Bakary Samya's whipped-in cross promised much, but delivered little. With the clock ticking, the Gunners upped their intensity. A mazy run from Giroud inside the box was brought to a halt by a fantastic tackle from Smalling.
Sunderland and Manchester City. The citizens made the early running, but Vito Mannone dealt easily with James Milner's speculative effort. Sebastian Larsson might have been sent off for his studs-up challenge. Spanish midfielder Javi Garcia was lucky to walk away. With only 7 points from the first 11 games of the season, Sunderland confounded expectations when a great Wes Brown long ball found the feet of Philip Bardsley.
That's a great ball, it's worked out wonderfully. They've got Giaccherini in the middle, but he doesn't need him.
With 13 minutes remaining in the half, Manuel Pellegrini's men might have levelled up. Alexander Kolarov sent a ball across the home goal, only for Sergio Aguero's effort to go just wide. 1-0 Sunderland at half-time. The pressure from the Sky Blues was relentless in the second period as they searched for an equaliser. Jesus Navas having 2 bites at the cherry, but the home defence remained resolute. With 22 minutes to go, Mannone would ensure the advantage was maintained for Gus Poyet's team after an Aguero effort from distance. The home side were now encamped in their final third as the visitors pushed hard to bring themselves back on terms, Edin Dzeko flashing his header wide. Kolarov would then fail to find the target. In the end, the Black Cats would condemn City to their 4th defeat of the season.
Friedel started in goal as he did in Europe on Thursday. The American reacted late to deny Mathieu Debuchy and managed to keep out the follow-up chance from Johan Goodbye. Spurs are well aware that 6 of their last 7 league defeats had come 3 days after they had played in the Europa League, and after 12 minutes they trailed at White Hart Lane.
Through the middle goes Remy, round Friedel! Newcastle have the lead at White Hart Lane. Only the 6th goal that Spurs have conceded in the Barclays Premier League this season, and for Remy it's 7 in 7.
At the other end, Tim Krul made a string of fine saves to preserve Newcastle's lead. The Dutch international remained a pillar of strength between the visitors' goal in the second half. Time and time again he was called upon to keep the Magpies on course to claim another London scalp after the win over Chelsea. Spurs continue to throw everything but the kitchen sink at Alan Pardew's side.
And it's Paulinho! Still this second half.
The Magpies, thanks largely to the heroics of Krul, pulled off a first win at the Lane in 5.5 years.
We'll stay in Europe, and Barcelona and Real Madrid continue their dominance in the Spanish La Liga. They both recorded wins in this weekend, in their round of matches for this weekend. Here are excerpts from La Liga matches that were played.
In La Liga on Sunday, keen to consolidate their place atop the standings ahead of the international break. Barca were having a little trouble against a side they hadn't lost to in 4 attempts. Only 12 minutes in did the Blaugrana look like scoring, Neymar taking too much time in the box. A foul on an advancing Lionel Messi would make the task a little easier for Betis, the best player in the world unable to continue through injury. That seemed to spur the host on as the crowd got them going, and had Victor Valdez not been at his best, they would have taken the lead. At the other end, Neymar was again handed a chance to open the scoring. This time his header, though, was easily dealt with. That wasn't the case after the half-hour mark, as first the Brazilian finally found the back of the net after being played in by Cesc Fabregas. Before a minute later, Pedro also got in on the act.
It's Pedro. Neymar is the support. Pedro goes solo. 2 quick-fire goals. Hammer Real Betis.
The host came back from the break and immediately had Barcelona on the ropes. Valdez relieved to see an effort cannon off the woodwork after being well beaten. Home keeper Sarra had to be brave in denying Neymar not once but twice in quick succession as he tried to keep his side in with the chance. But soon after, even his efforts were in vain as Barcelona did get their third through Cesc Fabregas, who finished a team goal. And then the former Arsenal man made it 4 with a header which went in off the woodwork late on. A penalty with the last kick of the game was little consolation for Betis. A comfortable evening for the champions, ending 4-1.
Atletico Madrid were the last 6 matches and looked well placed to extend their run.
The cross comes in and it's 1-0 to Atletico. Koke, the scorer.
Atletico Madrid were unable to capitalise on their good start, and Villarreal took advantage late in the match.
Still Pepe, and it's Uche. It's the equaliser, and it's 100% deserved.
The last time the two sides met at Villarreal, Atletico secured all 3 points. This time, however, the points were shared, the match ending in a 1-1 draw.
No Ghanaian player made it in the 5 shortlisted players who will be gunning for the 2013 BBC African Footballer of the Year award. Now 2 Nigerians, 1 Ivorian, 1 Gabonese, and 2 Nigerians, 1 Gabonese, 1 Burkinabe, and 1 Ivorian will be gunning for that award. So Victor Moses and John Obi Mikel from Nigeria, Yaya Toure from La Côte d'Ivoire, Jonathan Pitoripa is from Burkina Faso, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is from Gabon. These are the 5 shortlisted players who will be gunning for the 2013 BBC African Footballer of the Year award. Now the award, the winner will be announced during BBC's news day on December 2nd, 17:35 actually. So it's on BBC News, BBC World News actually, 17:35 GMT. That's when the winner will be announced on December 2. We'll keep you posted. My name is Rashida Babak Kadiri. Sports and News Today is proudly made possible by T.
The Bureau of National Investigations has detained the pharmacist at Goso Hospital in the Bunahafo region for selling banned drugs imported by Tabinco Pharmaceuticals. Now, according to Ajimambadu, was arrested on Friday following reports that he had stockpiled drugs banned by the Food and Drugs Authority. But lawyer for the suspect, Frederick Asamoah, says his client is being frustrated. Hello, lawyer Asamoah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. When you say your client is being frustrated, how do you mean?
Now, in the first place, the exact basis of the arrest is not clear. You know, because in one breath, it looks like they talk about some expired products. In another breath, they are talking about having stock of tobacco products, which the FDA had more or less banned, so supposedly. And it's not clear, nevertheless. And then they ordered him to come to Accra. He comes to Accra, he reports to the BNI on Friday morning, expecting to be investigated or interviewed and released. As we speak to you now, he has been in the BNI custody since Friday morning till now. and they are not making it clear exactly the basis upon the reason why they are keeping him, and we think it is not fair.
But your client does deal in medicines.
Oh yes, he's a pharmacist. He's a pharmacist at the Goso Hospital.
And he was selling some drugs that were not supposed to be sold?
You see, and that's the difficulty we have. For instance, he is an individual, but he's working in an institution like the hospital. And so if there is any offense, if at all, it is institutional. It's not personal. It means that because he's not the only one there, and the pharmacy does not belong to him alone. So in all fairness, we don't see. In fact, the truth of the matter is that we don't just know why they are keeping him. We don't know. And we don't know when they will release him. They have kept him since Friday. Now it's noon on Monday. We are not sure what is happening. And we say that it is not fair in the constitutional era to trample on human rights like that.
What is it that you're doing to ensure the release of your clients?
Well, first of all, we are still trying to link up with the BNI. Our latest indication shows that he's supposed to be at the regional office, and we are trying to make contact. If by the end of the day we don't see our way clear, then tomorrow we have to rush to court and get an order for habeas corpus in order to let them produce him and explain why they are keeping him.
We'll leave it here, Lawyer Asamoah. Lawyer Frederick Asamoah is client for the suspected pharmacist who's been dealing in some banned drugs imported by Tobinco Pharmaceuticals Company, Ajiman Bedu. Let's now go on to international news segment. And the Democratic Republic of Congo is set to sign a peace deal Monday with M23 rebels, a week after the group announced it was halting its fighting to pursue its goals through political means. The signing is taking place in neighboring Uganda, which has hosted peace talks between Congo and M23. The agreement is expected to detail the process for demobilizing rebel fighters, some of which are likely to be integrated into the Congolese army. The United Nations Special Envoy for the region, Mary Robinson, said on Sunday that the peace deal is an important step towards peace. Eastern Congo has been ravaged by years of fighting between the government and various rebel groups, often competing for control of the area's rich mines. More than 500,000 Somali refugees living in Kenya are to be returned to their home country after the UN Refugee Agency signed a tripartite agreement with the two governments. Under the agreement, the Somalis will be repatriated voluntarily over the next 3 years. The Somalis have sought refuge in Kenya from war and poverty. Two of the camps they live in, Dadaab and Kakuma, are now so large they are more like towns. There's also a suburb of Nairobi, Eastleigh, that is known as mini Somalia because so many Somalis live there. United Nations nuclear chief Yukiya Amano is in Iran, which set him apart from other high-life musicians, and that is his costume. And Afin, one of Ghana's finest high-life musicians, has now switched music genres. Appearing on the white carpet on Joy News on Saturday, he said he has finished work on his first reggae album.
Known for his Egyptian pharaoh-style dressing, Nana Finn has for years serenaded Ghanaians with melodious love songs. The high-life crooner, who has been missing for some time now, is back on the music radar, but with a different genre of music, reggae.
Once upon a time you met this lady and thought you had a girl in need, so pretty. Take come to mama specimen with dignity.
I mean, not to disappoint my fans out there, reggae has always been my first love. If you listen to my music carefully, you even know there are hints of reggae.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to disappoint my Ghanaian fans because you see, high life is ours, and I believe in being the best of a Ghanaian. But I know when it comes to reggae, I can challenge the best in the world.
Yeah.
So why don't I step out and then see what happens then?
Although reggae will be his primary focus, Nana Finn says he will continue to produce some high-life songs.
As long as I live in Ghana, unless I'm given a Jamaican citizenship or American citizenship, I'll always, do high-life songs. I'm not too sure about albums.
Yeah.
But high-life songs will always come your way. We'll share them, we'll enjoy them, alongside with some of the reggae tunes that Ghanaians choose to fall in love with.
Yeah. The video for Caution Danger Zone, the first single of his reggae album, True Rebels, received first-time airplay on the white carpet on Joy News. Here it is, enjoy.
Sure, we all have seen A Lion King. I personally love Timon and Pumbaa, but as part of the 10th anniversary of the Tema International School, the pupils have staged the popular cartoon play, The Lion King, at the National Theatre to raise $30,000 for the purchase of a CT scan for the Tema General Hospital's children's ward.
Hosted the past and present students of Tema International School, including some other school children, under one roof to celebrate TIS 10th anniversary. For cartoon lovers, it was an exciting moment for both old and young as they experienced a live stage performance of the cartoon series The Lion King. Some of the characters in the play shared the challenges they faced with their various roles with us.
Oh, I had challenges with the lines especially and the voice, but as time went on, it started to come naturally, and I think it has finally struck me.
I love that one. A recap of our main news. Trade Union Congress says its demand for a reduction in utility tariff has been partially heeded to by government after its reduced electricity tariff. So it says it will now be focusing on engaging government and stakeholders on a reduction in water tariff. Meanwhile, energy researchers says this could be devastating for the country. In business, tourism fetched Ghana $2.5 billion last year. The Moya Company, the small news on myjoyonline.com. My name is Kimini Nyamani Amano. Goodbye.